Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Dulcimerica. I hope you have had a great holiday season. No matter what you're celebrating, I just hope you've had a great time out there. I hope we had great weather too. It's been amazing here in Florida. And I'm looking forward to another wonderful year of making music and sharing music with you here on Dulcimerica. My name is Futch. Thanks everybody once again. So this is part 2 of DAD December, where we're looking at DAD tuning, following up some of what we were talking about in November, which was Novice November in DAA tuning. We're looking at how to play scales, how to play chord shapes, and what all of this stuff really means when you throw it all together. So I'm just very excited to show you some stuff here in a little bit. But before I go any further, I just want to say thank you to one of my patrons on Patreon, Dan Mollison. Dan, thank you very much for becoming a patron. I really appreciate you. I appreciate all of my patrons for doing what they do on a daily basis, which is be there as a part of my art every day. Doesn't matter if you're doing $5 a month or $100 a month. Every little bit counts. It helps to keep the lights going here in the studio. It helps to keep new gear coming in, and it just gives me the ability to sit and create without having to stress too much about the day-to-day, that everybody runs through. So I am very grateful. I'm very thankful for every single one of my patrons. And Dan, I want to thank you very much for your contribution on a daily basis and being a part of my art. Now, if you're curious about Patreon, basically it's a subscription service for everything I do. So if you sign up, you automatically, right off the bat, get unlimited access to everything I've ever produced. All my music, CDs, books, videos, tablature, and musical resources, educational handouts and programs, and a whole lot more is all yours right off the bat. Then every single week I create new content and I create new music, and it all goes to you as well. That's ground level. $5 a month gets you the store and everything else that goes with it. So if you're interested, the first thing I'll mention is you will need to pick up your resource materials for today's episode, and they are at this link right down here below. Go there, download them, and while you're over there, bookmark the page and go back later after you finish watching this and check out the open house tag. That open house tag has been there for 5 years. Everything that I've released to the public is available through the open house tag in the featured tag section. If you go there, there's just terabytes of stuff you can download and enjoy. Try before you buy, and if you like what you're seeing, please do consider becoming a patron like Dan Mollison. Again, Dan, thank you very much. Now I want you to stick around at the end of the episode. I got a very special sneak preview of something that'll be coming to Patreon next month, and I'm looking forward to showing you what that is right after we get back to business here with DAD tuning. So if you need to, go ahead and download all of your resource material and then come on back here and we'll get started with this thing. If you haven't downloaded anything yet, go ahead and do that. I will be putting this stuff up on the screen, but it's a lot better sometimes to have it right there in front of you or in your tablet or whatever else you would like to do. All right, so we're going to start off with, first of all, kind of looking at how to build chords and how to figure out this new tuning if it's new to you, or glean better understanding of what this tuning is all about. We're in DAD. That's D on the bass string, A on the middle string, and D on the melody string. Also known as a 1-5-8 tuning. And it's a symmetrical tuning. We can flip our chords over and get different sounds and voicings. We can also continue melodies across the strings instead of running all the way up and down the fretboard all the time. So there's a lot of neat little things that are worked into it, and I can see why people who were playing traditional mountain dulcimer tuning, DAA, 1-5-5 tuning, how they went into DAD and went, oh, I like it. And it's wonderful. But if it's new to you, it might be a little confusing, some of the chord shapes and all that. So we're going to try and demystify that as much as possible. So take a look at the first 2 pages in your handouts. And what you're going to see there are chord constellations. I learned this from my music theory mountain dulcimer guru, Mr. Jerry Rockwell. And this is a great way of trying to suss things out. Basically, on the first chord constellation, you will see all of these chords. Now, these chords may look familiar to you because we played those chords in last week's episode. We have D major, E minor, F sharp minor, D major, A major, B minor, C major. We also have a few other chords that we didn't play last week, like C sharp minor, E major, and A minor. We can play all those chords. They're not in the key of D, but we can play them, and they will come in handy every now and again. So it doesn't hurt to know that they exist and that they can be played. What you'll see for every single one of those chords is not only the name of the chord, but you'll also see the ingredients of the chord. What 3 notes are in each one of those triads? So for example, the very first one, D major, you'll see it says D, F sharp, and A. And right below that, you will see the scale degrees. So R stands for root or 1, also known as the tonic. 3 stands for the 3rd note of the scale in this application. F sharp is the 3rd note of the D major scale. 5 stands for the 5th note of the D major scale, which is A. Where you see a little B in front of the number, and you'll see that in front of 3s for our minor chords, that is a flat symbol. That's a text way of typing a flat symbol, which means that note is going to be brought down half a step. So if it is normally an F sharp, if we put a flat 3 down there for a D minor chord, then that F sharp comes down a half step, it becomes F natural. Instead, D, F, and A make a D minor chord. That is not on this chart because in order to play F, you need to have a 1.5 fret. And I'm kind of assuming at this point that not everybody has the 1.5, and that's why I don't teach it in a lot of the general presentations that I do. But I do teach specifically 1.5 fret and how to use it. And a lot of that stuff will be cropping up here in the new year for sure. So go ahead and take a look at the next page of the chord constellation, and you'll see that I have taken the first example, D major, and I have gone in and I've filled in 3 basic chord shapes, the L shape, the slant, and the extended slant. For every single one of our chords, except for the diminished chord, we are going to have the ability, and if it's a natural chord, if it's a diatonic chord, we will have at least 3 different chord shapes, 3 different ways to play that chord, and then we can flip that chord over each time for a total of 6 different voices for each one of the chords that we play. So what we're looking for on these chord constellations, make yourself a copy of a whole bunch of these and then print them out. It's already giving you the ingredients for the chord. So what you'll do is you'll go along the strings and using your note location chart, find where every instance of D is. Find where every instance of F sharp is, and then find every instance of A. And then connect those so that each one of those is on a separate string in the closest formation possible. You want all of those notes to be in the neighborhood, in the direct vicinity of the other ones, so that you can play a nice easy chord shape. If you find a D way up at the 7th fret, and then an F sharp down at the 2nd fret, and then an A on the middle string, you're gonna have a really weird sounding opening voicing for the chord for one, but also on top of that, you'd need the fingers of Tull Glazner to play the chord. Tull can play those chords, mere mortals like us can't. So you want to make sure that those notes are close and clustered together so that you can play a nice easy chord. And they're going to look about like you see there on the paper. L shape is first, followed by slant, followed by extended slant. Do that for each one of those, and you will be able then to work through where all of those chord shapes for all of those chords are located. And it's a great exercise to do to get yourself more familiar with the fretboard. Take a look at your next page, and here we have some theory I'm going to lay on you. So we talked in the last week's episode about learning the scales so that you learn where all the notes are on your mountain dulcimer. This comes in handy when we start looking at the chords in this way. First of all, the L-shaped chord. Take a look at that configuration there. Once again, we're dealing with scale degrees, and so I've actually made the root of each of these chord shapes red, so that it stands out and you can take a look at it and just at a glance know what you're dealing with. When you're at the L-shaped chord, the root of the chord is going to be on the bass string. The third, the middle note in the chord, is going to be on the melody string, and the fifth, the highest pitched note in the chord, is going to be on the middle string. So there we have a 3-3-5 chord, the root's on the bass string. The root right there is at the 3rd fret. The note being played at the 3rd fret on the bass string is G. So because we know it's the root location, we can go ahead and call that G, and then listen to the quality of the chord, the personality of the chord, to see if it's either major or minor. Major chords are up and happy, and minor chords are kind of sad and serious. Moving on to the slant chord, you'll be able to see that we've got that root on the middle string. So whatever note we're playing on that middle string is going to be the root of the chord. The 3rd is on the bass string and the 5th is on the melody string. It helps to know not just where the root's located, but where your other 2 notes are, because those notes can be shifted and moved to create other chords. And we'll be looking at that a lot further down the road here. So in the case of this 2-3-4 chord, I'm playing on the bass string. I got 3. My 3rd is on the bass string, my root's on the middle string, and my 5th is on the melody string. But the root is on that middle string, and there at the 3rd fret on the middle string, I am playing D. So this is a D major chord. Finally, we've got the extended slant, and you can see now that we have moved our way across from the bass string where the root was located for the L-shaped chord. We've moved to the middle string where the root was on the middle string for the slant chord. Now we've moved to the melody string where the root's located for the extended slant. And this one actually goes in order across the strings from melody to bass as far as the ingredients of the chord. The root first, the middle string has got the 3rd, and then the bass string has got the 5th. So if we play it as written here, we end up with an A major chord, because we're playing the root at the 4th fret, and that is where A is located. So once again, we can tell if it's major or minor by listening to the quality of the chord. That 1-2-4, that's definitely a major, but a 2-3-5 would be a minor. The root's on the B. That's B minor for that. Going back to our slant, happy 2-3-4, D major, root's on the 3rd fret there on the middle string. But if I move that to 3-4-5, that's kind of sad and serious sounding there, and the root's on that middle string at the 4th fret, which is E, so I have an E minor chord here. That's a really neat trick to have. So instead of trying to memorize tons of chords, all you have to do is memorize these 3 chord shapes and know what notes you have on the fretboard. Put 2 and 2 together and end up with the chord that you're looking for. 9 times out of 10, this works. Sometimes you might find yourself with a chord that is neither major or minor. If it sounds quizzical, then it's probably either a 7th chord or a diminished chord. Other than that, it's pretty much sad and serious or happy and goofy. All right, now there is one more chord shape down here, and it's a shape, but it's also more of a function. This is called a bar chord, and a bar chord is where you press down on all of the notes across the fret. So we'll be pressing down on the bass string, the middle string, and the melody string as well. You'll notice that the root is not only on the bass string, but it's also on the melody string. And the reason for that, of course, is that we are playing in DAD tuning, and our melody and our bass string are tuned the same. Those notes are going to be the same all up and down the fretboard. Also notice this, because we've got 2 roots, all of our chords so far have had 3 ingredients, like a triad should have: a root, a 3rd, and a 5th. What you'll notice there is you've got 2 roots and a 5th. There is no 3rd. You will find out in time here that the 3rd, the middle note of every chord, is the difference between a major chord and a minor chord. If you take that 3rd and you leave it as a major 3rd, it's going to be a major chord, like this A major L-shaped chord, 4, 4, 6.5. Roots on the bass string at the 4th fret, that's A. The major third is C sharp on the melody string at the 6.5 fret. Middle string at the 4th fret is E. That is the perfect 5th, the 5th. So we have all of our elements, A, C sharp, and E. Root, major third, and perfect 5th. Now if I take the major third and I slide my thumb from 6.5 down to 6, from C sharp down to C natural, I have changed the major third to a minor third, and now I've got a minor chord, A minor. So the difference between A major and A minor is that middle note, the third, whether it's a major third or a minor third. But if I take the third out of the picture entirely and just bar at the 4th fret, what I end up with is an A5 chord or a root 5 chord. It's a chord that only has the root note or the tonic or the 1, and then the highest pitched note in the chord, the 5th. There is no third that tells it whether it's a major chord or a minor chord, which means that we can use 5 chords, bar chords, root 5 chords, also affectionately known to rockers everywhere as a power chord. That chord can be used for both major and minor chords, and the root will work for both as well. That means if we strum open on the mountain dulcimer, that chord could be D major or D minor. If we play bar 1, that could be either E minor or E major. Bar 2, that could be F sharp major or F sharp minor. You get the point? By not defining that middle string, by not defining that middle note, we are able to actually suggest chords that we don't have the ability to play. And that's really super cool. Great stuff to know if you want to expand your range as a mountain dulcimer player. All right, we got one more thing to look at, and that's, let's just go ahead and play a tune. Many of you are coming from the novice beginner position and just started playing and just started reading tablature in DAA tuning perhaps. Now we're getting into doing DAD with the tablature. And it's a very, very simple tune, Amazing Grace. We're going to playing it in the key of D, and we are in 3/4 time. So the top number is how many beats are in the measure. Bottom number is what gets the beat. So 3 beats per measure, and 4 stands for the quarter note, and the quarter note is getting the beat. We've got 1 note there as a pickup that leads in to the rest of the piece here. So it's pretty simple. I haven't done anything too crazy with this arrangement at all, just the very basic stuff. Towards the end, I throw in a little B minor, and that gives it a bit of drama. The chord that would normally go there would be D major, but what I've done is I have taken the relative minor and replaced it. And anytime you want to replace a chord with another chord, the rule is make sure that at least 2 notes in the chord are the same as the chord that you're replacing. And so that works really well with this. D major is D, F sharp, and A, and then B minor is B, D, F sharp. So you can see that D and F sharp are the 2 notes that are in common between D major and B minor. Therefore, it works as a chord substitution, and that's why it's sitting there. And what is that measure? Number 13. And it sounds really cool. Try playing it with D, and then try playing it with B minor, and see how you feel about it. Here is Amazing Grace. I'll give us 1, 2, 3, full measure in, and then 1, 2. Let's just give you 2. I'm just gonna go 1, 2, bum, bum. Here we go. 1, 2. All right, there you go. Very, very simple version of Amazing Grace. If you're just getting used to playing DAD tuning, this is a great way to go because you don't have a whole bunch of chords to mess with, just the melody and then putting those occasional chords in there, many of them being open strum. Very, very, very simple thing to go on with. In fact, if you are not used to playing a mountain dulcimer in DAD tuning, and you played with this tune for the next 2 days and did nothing but play this tune for the next 2 days, I would imagine if you're watching this on the very, very first time this episode is debuting, that you'd be able to play this song by New Year's Eve. So have some fun with that, enjoy, and I hope as you explore some other tunings, other modes, other possibilities with the mountain dulcimer, that you'll take some of what you learned from these past 2 weeks of episodes and apply them and then boldly go into the future of your mountain dulcimer journey. Speaking of mountain dulcimer journeys, I just want to thank you guys so much. This has been an amazing experience for the past 12 years, and it's amazing that we are going into the 13th season of Dulcimerica starting in just a few days. And I have been working behind the scenes to create a lot of new things for you, teaching a lot of new stuff, learning some new things, just so I can pass them on to you guys out there. And I want to say that Dulcimerica has always been free of charge to watch. Not behind a paywall. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to subscribe on YouTube. You can go and just simply watch the episodes, and they are always, always, always going to be free of charge for you to enjoy. Having said that, this next month debuts something brand new that I am very excited about, and it is going to be on Patreon alone. It is called Dulcimerica Deluxe, and it is going to be a very, very ambitious project of bite-sized 5 to 10 minute episodes for all 3 skill levels. And the idea here is I want to create an ongoing catalog of episodes that are kind of like Dulcimerica, but they're more focused on one particular thing at a time. Maybe one episode is just about playing the G major chord. Maybe one episode is simply about strumming in 2/4 time. And these again will be very, very short and very graphics heavy episodes with lots and lots of information that you can use. And they'll all also, like there is a Dulcimerica episode guide, there will be a planning guide to follow along to all of the modules I'm putting out through Dulcimerica Deluxe. What I'd like you to see right now is a sneak preview of what that's going to be like when this hits the Patreon service next month. Go ahead and check this out.
Hello and welcome. This is Dulcimerica Deluxe. If you're new to the Appalachian Mountain Dulcimer, welcome to the family. Let's take a look at the anatomy of the instrument so you'll have a clear understanding of all the different parts. At the head of the instrument is the headstock. Next, we have the tuners, and the strings wrap around them at the head of the dulcimer. From there, the strings pass through slots in the nut and stretch across the fretboard, which is marked in sections by frets. You may also have fret markers. The strings eventually pass through slots in the bridge and are attached at the tail of the dulcimer. This open area near the bridge is called the strum hollow. The top of the dulcimer is called the soundboard. The openings are called tone holes. The sides and back of the mountain dulcimer are, well, the sides and back of the mountain dulcimer. In the next module, we'll take a look at how to change your strings and tune the dulcimer. Thanks for watching.
And there you have Dulcimerica Deluxe exclusively on Patreon starting next month. Again, the regular Dulcimerica that you're watching right now is going to remain free for all time. But Dulcimerica Deluxe is only available for my patrons, and it will start next month, January of 2020. If you are interested in checking that out along with everything else I have available on Patreon, make sure you visit this link right below, and make sure you go to the open house tag in the featured tag section. That includes everything that I've put out for the public to enjoy over the years. And if you like it, and if you want to see more of it, please do consider becoming a patron for just $5 a month. It gets you everything I've done and everything I do on a weekly basis, including Dulcimerica episodes, Dulcimerica Deluxe, Mailbag Monday, In Studio with Bing Futch, tour eats, and a whole lot of other productions that are exclusively found only on Patreon. I want to wish every single one of you out there a very, very happy new year. Thank you for your support, for your encouragement, and I look forward to seeing you again next week to kick off season 13 of Dulcimerica. Take care, you guys.